Hello and welcome to Not So Awesome Review, and today we're looking at the world of Halo Warthog with Arbiter and Master Chief. This is part of the 20th Anniversary Collection, I guess if you want to call it that. This is a GameStop exclusive, which was due out in January. It's now mid-February. It's finally released after being pushed back a bit. And yeah, so this is based off of the Halo 3 Warthog run. Probably my favorite level in all of Halo. It's the one I've replayed the most. It's the one that I have the most fond memories of. I remember the day I beat it. I remember the midnight release for Halo 3. I have my Halo 3 edition Xbox. This was like gaming peak for me in high school and end of high school, I guess. But yeah, this was definitely where it was the game that I spent probably the most time on Xbox Live. I spent a bunch of time with Halo 2, but compared to Halo 3, I think that outdoes any other Halo that's been released. I mean, I've replayed through a lot of the other ones, but 3, especially that Warthog run, favorite level, so I'm really excited to have this here. And, you know, we finally have an Arbiter, which is really exciting, and we have a Halo. We have a Master Chief in his Halo 3 Mjolnir armor, which came out pretty good. It's pretty accurate. He does have the battle damage where it should be. So yeah, before we get to the Warthog itself, we're going to go with the figures, then we'll move on to the Warthog, and that'll be the structure here. So we're going to start off with Master Chief. So Master Chief, as you'd expect, looks good. I mean, it's really reminiscent of the Halo Infinite Master Chief. You know, the armor and the look and everything is pretty much there. He does have his, you know, unique Halo 3 aspects, especially when it comes to the body armor and stuff like that. He does come with his assault rifle from the game, and that's the only accessory. I don't think any of the 3 3/4 inch figures actually come with a secondary weapon, or even a way to mount a secondary weapon, which is fine. I don't really mind too much. You can see we can mount the assault rifle in the back. It does look pretty nice here. Reminds me of the one we just got with the Halo CE Chief from that 2-pack. I do hope we get this figure in the Spartan collection because, again, it's my favorite game. Would love to have it. They did separate the armor from down here, as it should be. If you guys notice in the cutscenes in the game, that part of the body armor is always under there. So I'm glad that they realized to do that. The only thing is, it makes modding this figure with the waist mod I've been doing a little bit difficult. But yeah, they added it under there, which is a nice touch. Still really bad articulation. Basically none. So that sucks, but again, it is kind of what you would expect from the line anyways. Yeah, it's a Master Chief. It's really, I don't really think there's much I can say about it. Again, it's different enough, but very similar. The helmet on here, I actually prefer the Halo 3 helmet over the Infinite helmet. I love this color scheme, but this one definitely matches the Halo 3 aesthetic. It did have that olive drab, almost sepia kind of tone to it. You know, the armor's been through a lot at this point, so I actually think this is pretty game accurate, which is nice. And then the silver dry brushing on it, it's shiny, it's there, it's reflective, it's good. And yeah, this one has the waist mod I was talking about. It's not perfect, but it does allow for more movement. Doing it on this one, again, a little bit difficult because of that armor piece, but that has nothing to do with the review itself. So anyways, articulation, you can look up that much, look down that much, look straight, pivot a little bit but not too much, look left and right. Arm can go out completely straight, rotate all the way around. We have rotation like that. We have single jointed elbow. It does just under 90, just barely. It's just barely coming off right there because of the way the little gauntlet thing is here. And he does have rotation right there, which I'm going to say right now, I wish so much that the Spartan Collection had this rotation. I do really like the Spartan Collection's elbows because they can close all the way, but for when it comes to holding weapons, that rotation helps so much. And yeah, I'm hoping that's one of the things they take from this line and add to that line. Anyways, rotation at the wrist and a hinge at the wrist, always in the wrong direction. Don't know why. I want to say that the pilot actually might have had the right one, but I don't remember. I really don't remember. Anyways, leg can kick forward, can kick back, which is impressive because usually they can't kick back from what I remember. Go out that much, which isn't that great. It's fine. Double jointed knees, which is really good. And then rotation and a hinge. And again, no swivel. Did I mention upper thigh rotation? I don't remember if I did. And again, abdomen sucks, but yeah, no swivel. I'm curious. Yeah, this one does have swivels. So again, it's like 2 steps back. I don't know what's up with Wicked Cool Toys here, but yeah, this one's hinged going slightly at an angle, which gives us, that nice ankle pivot. This one is hinged going straight down, which gives absolutely no ankle pivot. It's gonna sound harsh, but whoever decided to go from the old legs, and because they're doing this with this one now, and they've been doing this with the Spartan collection, they need to be reevaluated or something, because you broke something that didn't need to be fixed. You actually broke something that was actually really good on the figures. The ankle pivots on those, I'm not gonna say they were perfect or amazing, but they were good. They worked. They had no reason to re-engineer this. Literally, all it has to do is the peg needs to go in sideways. It doesn't even really affect the height of the figure. These two stand, okay, so maybe he's a little bit shorter, but again, it doesn't really affect it enough that, actually, ironically enough, he's a little bit shorter. So that's just this one being shorter. So yeah, it doesn't really affect the height. I don't know what's up with that. It's just really disappointing. It's a really bad step backwards. It's like when they got rid of the butterfly joints for no reason. I could give them that one because for the most part they didn't work. But this right here, I'm sorry. I do like this company and what they're doing, but this is just stupidity in my opinion. So, wanted to point that out because, yeah, I don't know why you would change it from a useful joint to let's just make it less functional. It just seems dumb. The knees don't look the greatest, but in this scale, it actually isn't that bad. And they actually work this time. Again, I'm just kind of still annoyed of the Halo CE Chief that I reviewed on Saturday, whenever it went up. That one doesn't bend almost at all. This one at least gets it, which is great. Other than that, it's a good figure. I like it. Like I said, it looks like Halo 3 Chief. It's got the right color for, at least in my opinion. I do wish they would give us the like cool little visors they do with the big ones. It's fine that they don't. I can kind of see why that size may be a little bit harder. You can hold his weapon well enough, and then you can plug it in the back here. So, not bad for what it is. A little bit of black right here on the helmet. Don't know what that's about, but aside from that, not a bad figure. I like it. It's Master Chief. I mean, it's going to do what it's going to do. It's going to sit in the Warthog and look cool. So I don't need it to have the crazy articulation, but if I want to take some pictures or pose it around and stuff, come on, ankle pivot. You had it and you took it away. That's just really ridiculous in my opinion. And we do get these little stand thingies that we get with almost every single roll of Halo figure, which I don't think any of the vehicles actually got them. This is the first time in a vehicle we've gotten them. It's a sand one and a grass one. Great opportunity for them to have included like a Halo 3 themed one, either snow or the parts that are falling down when you're driving with the Warthog. They didn't do it. Missed opportunity on their end. Anyways, let's move on to Arbiter. So Arbiter is a little bit of a mixed bag in the sense of that people weren't so happy when they announced it, and the fact that he is more gold than silver. And I've seen some comments of people saying that, yeah, his armor does have a little bit of gold in there, if in the right lighting and stuff, although it does look more silver than anything in Halo 3. I think this is a pretty good compromise because it's not gold, it's not a bright gold, it's a nice copper. And I think it looks good. I mean, yeah, I would have preferred a little bit more silver than this, but I think it looks good. And they actually did a lot of work with this figure that I'm happy about. This is probably one of the, if not the best Elite they've put out, period. So where I have my issues with this one, especially with the ankle pivot, this one I think came out 99% perfect. I'm saying 99% because just his eyes look soulless. If you can see right there, his eyes, I don't know, they don't look like they have life. Maybe they need a little bit of a gloss coat or something, but yeah, it doesn't look alive to me. I know it's a toy and everything, but just something about it feels off, and I think it's missing that little bit of glossiness in the eyes for it to look good. But he does come with a weapon. He does come with a carbine, which makes sense. He does, use it in the game, I want to say, or yeah, right. I mean, the carbine is good. It's fine. I would have preferred the sword, because anytime he kind of throws his weapon away, he takes out his sword and does things. But we do have a few swords already, I want to say, in the scale, so it's not too bad. You can just give him one of those. Articulation-wise, they definitely, exceed here where the other elites kind of failed, and I want to start off by showing one of those elites, because I actually really like this one. It's probably my favorite of the, I guess, army builders, if you want to call them that. The purple one from the Walmart 2-pack. Looks good and everything, but yeah, its abdomen doesn't really move back and forth, doesn't move side to side too much. It moves, rotates like that, but there's no pivot or anything like that. It's a decent looking figure. Again, the eyes do look a little bit soulless on this one too. And I want to say that the other elites kind of follow the same design where, they're pretty good. They get the job done. And for the most part, these two share, I wouldn't say a mold, because they definitely don't, but they do share the same aesthetic. They are essentially the same height if you get the feet, in the right position. So they do fit in with each other really well. But this one, articulation is great. And you can see that, like, the legs are thicker and everything is a little bit thicker on this guy. It's like from the arms, they're a little bit skinnier than him, but again, different kind of mold and everything. But yeah, he has a really good abdomen. I mean, he can lean back, lean forward, lean side to side so much. I mean, look at that pivot. That is what we want in these figures. We want that abdomen joint to be moving around, and that's great. And then we have a rotation down here. So he has all of the movement that you kind of would want in that little area, and at this size. So that is awesome. In my opinion, that's great. He does have a hinge at the head, which can't really look down that much and can't really look up too much. It's noticeable when you move it down, but it's not too noticeable. My only complaint with that really is that he can't look side to side. I wish it was a ball peg instead, when, they went in and came out, and you can just kind of pivot it a little bit, because he already, up and down already isn't too much, so it would have been nice. Could kind of look left and right. There's like a slight movement, but it's not enough to be noticeable. That's my only real complaint, but that's how all the other elites are, so can't really argue too much, especially when they gave us this. I'm really happy about that. Anyways, arm movement for the left arm that much, for the right arm that much. The armor does kind of get in the way, unfortunately, but it's an elite. I don't think it's too bad. Can rotate all the way around. Does have that single jointed elbow. Does 90 degrees, so love it. Rotation right there. Again, I think that's really important for holding weapons, because there's no butterfly joint. That's the next best option right there. They really need to add that to the 6-inch scale figures. Rotation. Hinge in the wrong direction again, and then we have the legs that move forward. They do move back. They do move out. They're a little bit awkward. They're elite legs. They're elite legs. So expect random movement. Anyways, knee does that much. There is that bottom knee thing that does that much. There's that bottom foot thing there. And there is an ankle pivot. And yeah, I think they did a good job. Honestly, for the scale and everything, I can't complain. Even with the head thing and the arms being a little bit limited, I mean, it's a scale thing, in my opinion. Usually smaller figures don't have as great as articulation as their bigger counterparts. So I think this came out really good. I honestly love it. I think it's actually the centerpiece of the entire 3-pack here, if you want to call it a 3-pack. But yeah, it's a good figure. It looks good. Again, compared to the Elite there, they're pretty much the same size. They look good. You can definitely mix and match them. There's nothing off there. Same with the other Infinite Chief here. Can mix and match if you really wanted to. And no complaints in that department. I think both figures came out as good as they could. Well, ankle pivot, but they came out good. Love it. Anyways, let's move on to the Warthog. So here we have the Halo 3 Warthog, which, just like the Infinite one, does come in pieces with the tires separated, the turrets, and the antenna. Popping on the tires is pretty easy. It's not too hard. The turret, however, did give me some trouble. I had to pretty much hold it up to my chest and kind of wiggle it in there. It's more of a rubbery fit than anything and since it is at an angle, it makes it a little bit more difficult, and yeah, it's just a little bit awkward in that sense. The antenna just slides right in, and overall, the entire Warthog looks amazing. It actually looks really nice. The green on it, especially the matte green paint, makes it look so much nicer, so much more premium. I might even prefer it to the Infinite one. Yeah, no, you know what? I do prefer it to the Infinite one. I just really like the look of it and everything. It just has a nice beefier look, in my opinion. The turret does spin around so much nicer than the other one, so we'll get into that in a second. But yeah, design wise, this is probably my favorite Warthog design, along with Halo 4. I do like the Halo 4 one. It's not too different from the Infinite one, but it's different enough that it's its own thing, and I think it looks really good. So yeah, taking a quick look right here, the Warthog itself, again, completely different design, completely different mold than the Infinite one, which is great. Like I said, the turret does spin all the way around, unlike the Infinite one, which kind of has an issue only being able to go side to side a little bit, and it being really hard to do. This one kind of just goes whichever way it wants to, side to side, and can lean forward and back down here, and if I can hold it right, the gun itself can move up and down, and if it loosens up a little bit on this side, there is a screw that you can tighten just a little bit if you need to. The dash, unfortunately, doesn't have that much paint. By that much paint, I mean there's like basically no paint. It's just plastic separation. So that would be my only real big complaint, aside from the fact that this one does have a little bit less paint than the Infinite one. The Infinite one has this one silver, where this one is just the molded color. Kind of sucks that he did that. The white on here, it's okay. Maybe a little bit thin. Maybe could have used a little bit more of a coat. This, you know, that's a lot better. What it probably should have been down here. Though the line work on there isn't great. The bottom of it, you can see the suspension, because it doesn't actually move just like the other one. I wish they would add the suspension. I know it's not an expensive thing, but it would be nice if the wheels could turn left and right and had suspension and everything, especially considering the Jada one, I want to say, wasn't that much money. Might have even been cheaper than this 2-pack. So, yeah, that one has suspension. We do have a nice bumper here. We do have a license plate, WC21JHT. Didn't even notice that before. And yeah, it's nice. I like the seats. I like the way it looks. I love the fact that it's clear glass for the windshield. The screw holes where it screws in right there, a little bit distracting. Wish they had just kind of glued it in instead. But aside from that, really nice. Wheels are rubbery, just like the other one. Green on the outside for hubcaps, silver, or gray I should say, on the inside, compared to the Infinite one, which I have right here. Hopefully they both can kind of fit in there. You can see they are different. They're not reusing almost anything, if anything, at all with these molds. The way the suspension is on this one is completely different. Like I said, this one has silver here for the hook, while this one doesn't, which is what I think it's missing. I wish it had that. Wish there's a little bit more premium paint, especially since you're doing a GameStop exclusive 20-year thing. You're trying to celebrate it. Would have been nice to see a little bit more premium paint on there, especially considering this does have more decals. It has the UNSC logo. It says UNSC. We got this white stuff here. There's really not that much going on with paint on here. It would have been nice for them to kind of just add the silver on there, in my opinion. But side by side, you can see that this one is just slightly shorter. Not by much, mostly just here in the cabin, I guess, if you want to call it that. You can see it's definitely taller right there. This part in the front goes up. Basically, this one is just taller overall in every kind of sense of it. The gun is even bigger, and I want to say nicer, but not really. This one, paint-wise, looks better, but again, you can't really turn it too much. I can't even move it from this angle, so that kind of tells you that right there. Side by side. More simplistic design because it is the 360, even though the 360, you know, could do a lot, but yeah, more simplistic, more complicated handles, the little stepping thing, which realistically, I guess, makes sense, you know, from a realistic standpoint. Then the back here, of course, we have just the brake lights, and here we have all the gas cans, which I remember reading somewhere where these things run on water, so that, I guess, would be water cans. The more you know. But yeah, higher, lower, same length more or less, same width. But yeah, it's nice having variance, and hopefully we can get a few other ones down the line. I wouldn't mind getting a Halo 1 Warthog with a Halo 1 Master Chief and a Flood. If they want to make Flood, we don't have any Flood at all, so Flood would be great. But yeah, overall, looks good, looks great. The figures do fit in it pretty comfortably. I want to say Master Chief fits in this one, at least the new one, the Halo 3 Master Chief fits in the driver's seat on this one a lot more comfortably than the Infinite Chief fits in this Warthog. This one, he kind of doesn't even really want to sit in there flush or anything. It's kind of annoying, but yeah, the way they designed it, I don't know. I feel like they could have done something more. I mean, you have all this plastic room. They could have maybe lowered where his feet go, extended this part right here, because it goes up right there, and I think that's just really odd. Considering the way the feet go in there, you would think they would design it so they can make sure that Master Chief can sit with his, you know, butt firmly planted on the bottom of the seat. And you can kind of get it in there. You gotta mess with it. You gotta definitely work with the feet to get everything going in there. But he can sit in there pretty comfortably. When I first tried it in earlier, when I got the figure out of the box, his head was popping out of the whole thing a little bit too much. He shouldn't be that high up. I mean, he's big, but he's supposed to be able to still fit in there comfortably. Something that I've always had an issue with when it comes to the Infinite one, where Chief would be sitting somewhere like that, and that's definitely not right. This one, you can kind of force it in there if you mess with the feet good enough. And then we do have that foot peg right there for Arbiter. We want him to kind of sit on there, get him on the turret. And yeah, overall, looks good, looks great. End of Halo 3, love it. Really nothing else to say here other than, yeah, I would recommend this little set if you can find it, if it's in stock. I don't know if it's in stock currently. I would assume it's going to come back at some point. Hopefully it does. And yeah, it's definitely worth it in my opinion. Halo 3, again, probably my favorite in the series. That last Halo run, definitely one of my favorite, if not my favorite level, just period, out of all of the Halo games. And I'm happy to have this in my collection now because, again, it's just my favorite part of the game. It's my favorite ending. It's my favorite driving section. So anyways, that is my review for the Halo Warthog GameStop exclusive with Arbiter and Master Chief. Arbiter, definitely the gem in this set. The Warthog is amazing. Master Chief, still really good, even without the ankle pivots. I'm going to complain about it because that's what we do. We're not going to just let them go and say, it's a good figure, it looks great, I love it, it represents the figure great. Yeah, it does all that. Why'd you take away the ankle pivot? But anyways, that is my review for this. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully more Halo stuff on the horizon at some point. We don't really have any announcements for anything new yet, but with Toy Fair, quote-unquote, coming soon, I'm saying that because I know the official Toy Fair is canceled, but I'm sure we're going to still get to see, you know, stuff that's going to be coming out pretty soon. So hopefully they'll be announcing other figures, new line, maybe hopefully the Spartan collection will get a Covenant collection sister line or something. That would be great, but that's all speculation. Hopefully something like that is coming, but in the meantime, hope you guys enjoyed the review. More videos coming, and I will see you all later. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.